Hey, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can land your first AI automation client in 30 days. This comes from someone who built his own AI agency from scratch. I delivered more than 50 projects to companies over the past 5 months. And this guide comes from the fact that I see that there is a lot of hype over AI automation in general and a lot of message that are shared, like, do we do content? Do we do outreach? Do we do outbound? Like, what do we do? How do we get clients? And this is still one of the most asked questions that I see both online and within the new joiners in my community. So that's the reason for this guide. I'm gonna go very no BS on this because this is the guide that I wish I had when I started. And I'm gonna give you an overall understanding of what it takes to get one paying clients in the AI automation space, what you should be looking for, what are the things that you should be using, and more or less what is also the cost involved, right? Because you need to more or less counter also with the ROI and the resources that you have available. I'm gonna start this guide before even going into that as if you had no previous experience. So I'm literally gonna go from scratch to landing your first client. So let's start with what's the reality of landing a client in 2026. So there is a lot of noise around AI automation, as I was mentioning. And the reason is because it's flashy, it's everywhere, and everyone is sort of whispering about the financial upside that you can achieve within the space. Everyone is talking about gold rush. Everyone is talking about how much money they can make or they are making with AI automation. However, one thing is never mentioned, which is one of the most important ones. I see a lot of people out there saying that this AI automation thing, once you know how to build an automation, like clients will throw money at you. However, this is not really true. This doesn't really happen. And as you will be able to see firsthand within the next 30 days, if you apply what I'm telling you, you will see that the market is quite competitive, right? There are a lot of people and you need to weave yourself into, getting your first paying clients. On top, I see a lot of people defining it as a passive income strategy, as if you were, making this automation and they would make money for you. However, that's not really the case. And I want to just start with one first statement, like landing the first client is simple, but it's not easy. And I hope that within the next minutes where I will be guiding you through the roadmap, you will understand it. And what do I mean by that? Easy means that there is little effort required and involved. And easy means that in some ways, magically, it happens. Simple means that the steps that you can follow are very predefined and very easy to understand. And there are few parts that have low complexity. However, it doesn't mean that there is little effort involved. One other things that before starting to give you the roadmap, I want to say is a lot of beginners start by seeing, YouTube, LinkedIn. And by the way, I grew 40,000 followers in 5 months. So I think I can speak for that, at least on LinkedIn. YouTube, I just started. However, no successful agency owner that I know or that I have heard of ever started with content. And why is that? Because content comes in as a long-term strategy in order to generate distribution, but doesn't help you get started. And why is that? Let me quickly draw it for you. So content is a one-to-many strategy where you produce a piece of content and then a lot of people are gonna see it, right? So you can understand it like this. However, here there are a lot of things that you can control. The first thing that you can control is the amount of people that are going to see your videos. And a great example could be my channel. I started posting video like 2 weeks ago, and my first video got like 5 views. Then I got another that got 300. And then you can see clearly the shape of the curve that my views take in the early stages, right? And the same was with LinkedIn. Now I get posts that get almost like 500,000 to 1 million views, but initially I would get as little as 200, 300. And that's basically where many people start. Additionally, to not being able to control the eyeballs that you get to your content, the other things that you can control is if the people seeing your content are in target. So if that is your ICP, Because you might have that, I don't know, one piece of content will get you, I don't know, 1,000 views or impressions, depending on the platform. However, the conversion to ICP is 0. So that's a very, very important thing to understand, and reason why no one starts with content alone. While on the other side of the coin, if you do outbound, this is again a one-to-many strategy, but this goes the opposite way, right? So a piece of email, in case we're doing outbound cold email strategy. So from your inbox, you can reach out a lot of people. Like, again, we are in the same similar situation. However, what is the difference? The difference is that the people that you reach out to are on target because you decided what is your target, right? Like you created your own ICP, you are, I don't know, applying to Upwork. Like these are actually people that need your thing. And also, let's imagine that you're doing Upwork applications or email outbound marketing. The thing that you can control is the volume. So while you can control how many people see your content because it depends on how good the content is, here you can totally control the amount of email that you're sending. And how can you control it? Like, you will forgive my drawing, but the easiest way to control it is with the amount of emails that you send. So this can translate into amount of inbox, amount of application that you send, and so on and so forth. So overall, the reason why we start with email marketing campaign and we don't start or Upwork application and all of my strategy is, why don't we start from content? Because it's a non-controllable and it takes a lot of time to build distribution. Now that we put this aside, we can move to the roadmap. And the roadmap starts as follows. We start, as mentioned, from scratch. So the day 1 to day 3 and day 3 to day 7 are as if you never opened once any automation platform. So on your first day, you need to decide one low no-code platform and that you want to use and one platform that you will stick with 30 days, right? So the first thing, an obvious choice, is the two main platforms that are going right now. It's Make.com and NA10, at least as of end of 2025, beginning of 2026. NA10 is getting more and more familiar within companies and getting more widely used and etc. However, one thing that you will notice is once you start and later on within the coming days applying to Upwork, you will notice that a lot of companies are using Make.com. And the reason is the platform started to be used earlier and it's more like widely spread across business applications. NA10 is now more common for, let's say, content creation, and it's getting also more common in organizations because of all of the things that it allows you to do, because the difference is that Make.com has no code at all. You just drag and drop the nodes to make your automation. With NA10, you have some sort of flexibility of doing a little bit of code. And that's why Make.com is called a no-code platform, and NA10 is a low-code platform. However, there is literally no difference so long as you pick one and you stick with it. Beginner-friendly, Make.com is my recommendation. However, NA10 will allow you to scale much faster. However, for the first paying client or for your first $10,000 a month, it's not going to be a big difference whichever platform you pick. So once you picked your platform, I would suggest you to start doing tutorial and courses, and you will have to do this for 7 days. Nowadays, there is plenty of material of like free courses, of full tutorials of 70 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours of NA10, Make.com, and etc. Highly recommended if you don't know anyone. Like Nate Herc made some amazing tutorials on NA10, highly recommended. And what you should be doing, so Nate, if you watch it, shout out. But once you do one of those, you are most likely in the condition to start implementing actual workflow in a business. The only thing that separates you from you implementing the first workflow is a little bit of experience, which is what we're going to tackle next. But anyway, we started with a platform and we picked it. Now, the second thing that you have to do actually is to pick a name for your agency and buy the domains for email marketing and start warming them up right away. Cost is 90% of your cost of the whole 30 days. You will see there is, there is just under $27. That's it. So this is totally not expensive. But in case you had no understanding, is this roadmap will be separated and will enable you to reach out to at least, 2,000 leads by the end of the 30 days. Most of them, like half, to be honest, will be done with email marketing. And what is the main rationale behind it? When you're doing email marketing, it means that you are sending email to clients, right? But you're not sending them with your own domain because of a lot of technical things that are not necessary right now, but it's called you have a health score of the domain. That is basically what allows your email to go in the inbox or in the spam. So in order not to affect the health of your domain, what you want to do is you want to buy a lot of similar domain. Like, let's make an example, gogiovanni.com, /giovanni.com, left click giovanni.com, something like this, something sidegiovanni.com, something that resembles the name of your agency, imagining that your agency is called Giovanni, and you will buy a few of them, right? I would suggest between 7 to 12. I think this is few dollars, like $3 per 3 domains. But yeah. And these domains cannot send any email up until day 21. And for this very reason, it's important that you do it on day 1, because you just give yourself some time that in the meantime that your domains are getting warmed up, you have all of the time needed to do the few steps after, which is applications and so on. So cool. So the amount of email that you're going to be able to send is driven from this simple math equation, which is you have to consider that once your emails will be warmed up, you are going to be able to send from one inbox around 30 emails a day. And for this very reason, I am suggesting between 7 to 12. The other thing that you should ideally do within the first 3 days is to consider a one-page website. Now, is this necessary? The reality is not. It's not a necessary thing to have a website. But in 2025, the reality is that most of the businesses, in order to be considered as a legit business, and even it's probably something that you do, you're just going to go on the website and see if there is a website, right? And then you're going to scout around and then you're going to be, okay, like this dude is legit. So the only real reason why you need a $27 website, so again, very contained cost, and that's all your costs, by the way, it's because it just gives you that little bit of legitimacy that I think you want to achieve specifically in the early stages. And one other thing is that if you can manage to buy your domain and then you have the company website, this is giving you an additional boost, right? Because again, you are gonna use a domain that resembles the one of your agency. We made the example as Giovanni, and this is just one more thing on top that gives you the, okay, this guy is actually a serious dude, and etc. Good. So how do you make a good website? 3 things, because you don't need anything else. Like specifically if you don't have testimonials, if you're a total beginner and etc. You just need to have your landing page. In your landing page, you need to have a short description of who you are and what you offer, and a CTA. Absolutely, in the beginning, the website will be generic. So in the beginning, you will not have clarity on, okay, what are the solutions that I can do? What can I offer, and etc. So in the beginning, it will be something extremely vague. And the only CTA that you need is for people who go on a website to book a call with you. So ideally, that's the first button that they're going to see. Everything else, super non-necessary. You can add it at a later stage. Good. So optional. So your whole investment for these 30 days will be these $99. And eventually, if you want a $27, I also gave you a recommendation of Webflow, which is a nice website to do, like easy website on, to host it and etc. So you can use it. Now, again, we mentioned that we don't have a lot of capability yet. We are total beginners. So day 3 to 7, our aim is to build proof and capability. So how do we build this? You start with setting up your Upwork profile, and you set it up as an individual and not an agency, because Upwork is a platform that, if you don't know it, it's for freelancers. And that's actually the best platform where you have the lowest hanging fruits, or as to say, is the best platform in order for you to find people that actually want to buy. Because what you will notice once you go on Upwork, and let me see if I can open it up real quick. And this is, for example, an interface of Upwork with jobs and etc. But here you will be able to find, as you can clearly see, an estimated budget that people have for the project to be delivered. By the way, it's not always $50, but people don't know how to price it, so they just put low price because they are trying to lowball you. And then here you will have a lot of work jobs that you can apply to, and basically anything you want. As I was mentioning, here you have NA10, automation and integration API NA10, and here you can also, and that's what I will tell you later on, NA10, make.com, so the two platforms that we were mentioning. But this is also a very nice way, and this is where we will be focusing on for the next 20 days, to gather the initial market understanding and understand, okay, what are people actually paying for? I have no expertise. I don't know a niche. I don't know anything. Go on Upwork, scout a bit of jobs, and understand what people are actually paying for. That's a great way to validate your offer, right? Good. So you're going to set up the profile, and you're going to create a portfolio. Now, it's very probable that you don't have anything to add to your portfolio if you are a beginner. So the things that I would recommend is create your portfolio in two ways. First off, like do YouTube tutorials, do YouTube videos, and upload the things that you do on Upwork. Something is better than nothing, right? And don't expect that the level of understanding of who's asking you to do something is so high that they are able to distinguish between a very complex automation and a very simple one. And by the way, the automation that deliver money are always the very simple ones. And the other thing is try creating systems customers are paying for on Upwork, even though you're not selling it yet. What does it mean? That if I go back on Upwork and I see that, I don't know, news monitoring and trend detection is a possible automation, let me try to build something that is around news monitoring and trend detection, right? And if I have no knowledge, I can either go on YouTube and look for a tutorial on that topic, or I can, which is a thing that I would highly recommend because it's on this step right here, I can paste the description into a GPT, ask the GPT, okay, I am doing the automation in an A10 or make.com. Help me break down the job description so that I can understand how to build it. And then maybe ChatGPT will give you top line understanding. It's not good on telling you exactly which nodes you should be implementing and etc. But can give you a top line understanding of, okay, you need a trigger. The trigger is like this. You need, a database, and the database is that. You need an RSS feed because maybe you are doing news monitoring or a newsletter. So you want to connect with that. And then you're going to go deeper on, okay, what is an RSS feed? What are other options that I have? And so on and so forth. The other thing that you should do, as I mentioned, is take job listing and record the Loom video for yourself, explaining to the customer what you would do for them. Let's make a live example. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to press this automation. And I'm going to see, okay, that I can apply, fine. So what do they need? I'm going to quickly scout what they need. They need news and content creation. And then they have probably something created absolutely from a GPT, right? You can see it. news articles, headline, industry updates, and etc. APIs, RSS feed as expected, and few other things, output, a Google Sheet preferred, and etc. So in my head, I have already a thing that I could be discussing. So what you would do is you would probably go in the page of the person, you would open it, and you would say, hey, that's how I would start a video. So, hi, I'm Giovanni. I'm an AI automation specialist. I've been working on 50 plus automation over the past 5 months, and I specialize on news and monitoring and trend detection. I thought to shot a quick Loom video for you because I would like to, explain you how I would do it. And then you would go into the nitty-gritty details of whatever. You would then move to NA10 or make.com, show the automation. But overall, 2 quick rules is keep your intro short and put already out of the way that you are an AI automation specialist. And then focus on giving the value to the customers and talking about their project rather than about you. So your 2-liners would be, I'm an AI automation specialist and I do this for a living. And then you're going to be like, I built this a few weeks ago. I think what you would do in your case is I would probably build X, Y, and Z, and etc. Now, it's highly recommended to have an automation pre-built. Of course, you will not be able to have all of them built at once. So a nice way to solve this issue is to go into the NA10 templates or make.com templates, which are pre-built things that you can play around with. You can drag and drop few nodes and they are already there for you. Otherwise, just write something on a canvas, like white canvas like this, and just to show it, because people do appreciate the effort that you took in order to show and that you care about the project rather than you solving it right away with this 2 minutes intro call. So this is done for 2 main reasons, and I want to be clear here. So here we're not selling anything, right? Here we are using a free platform, which is Loom, to record the video. We are learning how to translate ideas into solutions. And ideally, if you want to be successful by day 7 with this, from day 3 to day 7, you should record at least 5 Loom videos a day. And then eventually you should watch them. Total time invested is 2 minutes per Loom video times 5. It's 10 minutes to 20 minutes per day, considering 2 minutes to prepare it. And again, 10 minutes to review so that you can understand how you look on camera, what you could improve, and so on. But this just gets you started with the habit of recording and being and talking in front of a camera, and without having a script, without knowing what to say necessarily in advance. But it just, gets you into the habit of speaking and breaking down ideas up until you reach day 7, and then you need to start applying. Now, here, first thing is keep practicing your platform. Set aside a little time each day to build another workflow. This is just made because if you are a technical human being or a good human being in general, there is a high chance that you are going to feel like the imposter syndrome, and you really don't have to, because, it's important that you start building these workflow for yourself in order to get more familiar with it. And also this will give you a little bit of confidence in speaking about workflows, because if you do one a day, then by day 15, you did 15 workflows. Like, what can you want more in order to start selling, right? Like, you're more than ready. So this just is a trick that it's a mind trick that helps you out in not feeling like you are an imposter, because you're not actually stealing people's money, but you're telling them, hey, I can do this for you. I can help it out. And so, and also it gets you better with the overall platform, which is what we also want. Now, from day 7 to day 14, you're gonna send 5 to 10 Upwork jobs proposals per day. So per each proposal, you're gonna send a Loom video explaining how you'd solve their problems and send the custom message. And this is a message that I created for you. Hey, name of the person. I built a system last week for a client and thought to shoot you a video on how I do it for you. And here you put the link of the Loom video, again, free platform, so no reason not to do it. And that's why we're doing so many trials and errors on videos. Would love to hop on a call to discuss it with you. And then you give them the CTA, because on Upwork, if they don't answer, you don't have any way to follow up with them, right? Then moving on, you're gonna still on day 7 to 14. So after you got a bit of experience under your belt and you know what you're talking about, you're gonna reach out to everyone in your network and suggest you start implementing AI solution for businesses, and if they know anyone interested. Mind you, here a good message would be something along the way of, hey, Gino, I started freelancing and offering AI solution to businesses. I wanted to reach out to know if you knew anyone that would be interested in this and you could introduce them to me. So what you're doing here is you're not hard selling. You're not telling them, hey, I want to sell you. You're asking if they know anyone, right? And it's reasonable that most people will tell you, no, I don't know anyone. But this removes 2 friction. One is, oh, I don't have a big enough network, or I don't know business owners. Well, in this case, you don't, right? You are just asking anyone. And I will tell you, I started with one of the first projects because a friend of mine knew a dude running a pizzeria, like a very stereotypical Italian, that needed an automation. And I started with them. It was a very simple automation for their invoices and something super simple for their suppliers. But again, I didn't know anyone back then. I don't know if you're like me. I didn't have a massive network and etc. So that's how you can easily start. As Alex Hormozi says, I'm not quoting because I'm not good enough. You can go watch his video. Shout out to Alex. Fantastic content. Is you're just lowering the barrier to entry or to sales. You're just lowering the barrier overall that people have, because when they're perceiving that you're too salesy, they tend to, run away. But here you just want them to support you. Most people, by the way, and I want to be clear, so we'll land a client from this. And this client will be either free, let's call it, or low paid, like $50. But at this point, it's totally fine if you offer your services for free or low paid, because if you're a beginner, your time invested in solving real business problems for real businesses is already, something that you should be proud of. And that's already the currency that they are paying you, because they're paying you for your inexperience. And that's the reality. You are still not able to deliver business value, and they probably would be better off without your automation than with. So for this very reason, it's totally fine, because at the beginning, the intent is not to monetize, but is to learn. Okay? Now, once you did that, in the meantime, you have still set aside some time in your day to produce one workflow automation per day. And also, you started building some things that you are seeing on Upwork that are working, because right now you are applying to 5 to 10 Upwork's job per day. So maybe there is something recurrent that comes, and then you're gonna build it, right? As a MVP, because this allows you simply, there is market demand for the solution. So there is probably going to be someone else who needs it at some later point. And if you have an MVP ready, then just better. Now, a reality check. At this stage, there are people that literally send the first application and land a job on Upwork. However, that should not be your expectation. The marketplace is competitive, and the reality check that you have at this point is that you will notice from Upwork how fast projects go away. Because literally, just like you, people will start applying and will be competing for the same job application and so on. And that should be your first trigger in your head that content would never work if it wasn't that you are doing outbound and that you are doing the first or a few thousand or $10,000 or $20,000 with outbound. Because the market is so competitive that in the meantime that you're doing a post and someone is reading your post, they already have 10 emails in their inbox with people that already send something personalized that most likely will drive the customer to them rather than to you. Okay? Now, day 14 to 21, we continue with a 5 to 10 application on Upwork per day and having calls with clients. So that is nothing new, and nothing new is continuing adding new project to Upwork and your profile as you make them. And let me be clear here. Everything that drives money, at one point, if you master it, every activity is a bit boring, right? I think you should imagine it as the slot machines that you can pull the lever and you can make money. Like if you pull it enough times, let's say 1 in a million, you will want $2. Okay, let's imagine that now you know that if you do X, Y, and Z, so if you know that you can do a better application, etc., you can continue pull it and then you continue getting $2 every time. Of course, a smart way to make more money is to pull it more time. So this is exactly what we're doing right here. We are developing a habit. We are mastering that habit. And once you have enough repetition, enough volume, and etc., even if it becomes boring, you continue doing it. Because that's how you make money, right? Even if it didn't work, because you are mastering anyway a skill set that will enable you to eventually close a client the first time you hop on a call. Now, once you do all of these, within this time interval, we are almost ready to be at day 21 and to start with our email campaign. So what you're going to do right here is that you're going to scrape 3,000 leads you want to reach out to, and then you're going to offer them a solution. Now, for sure, at this point, you will start having an understanding of what people are paying for because of the repetition that you did. Here, you have that you applied to 70 to 140 Upwork jobs in total, right? In the past period. So this is a good enough understanding of, okay, what do people want? Plus, you have the 5 video per day that you did in the beginning in the day 3 to 7. So what are these? 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Counting extremes, it's like 5 days. You have other 5 video a day. So this is 25. So here you go to 95 to 165 Upwork application, right? So you now have a market understanding. And you now know which are the niche that need which solution. And that's why you can start offering it, right? And that's why I mentioned here that in the beginning, people say, oh no, go on real estate, go on here, go on there. Like, it's much easier to niche down by solution, right? And then eventually go by industry, then do the opposite. And the reason is because in the beginning, it's also good that you do something unscalable that will allow you to better understand how the market works, rather than you think already on scaling, productizing, and etc. Like, the point here is just getting good. And here, most likely, you're going to have, it's very possible that with the 140 application on Upwork, you landed a client. Like, it's very possible. But let's imagine you didn't. At least you know what people are paying for. And now you can start, getting them via email. And then once you did that, we also start creating the email copy, but you need to make it personalized. And I provided 2 templates that we're now going to see, but 2 rule of thumb. Ensure you have the so-called variables so that AI can personalize them. There is so many ways to call them. Like you can say, hey, and then you have what we call a icebreaker, which is how you start the email, like, love this, I saw you doing this, saw your content on, like that depends on the data that you are going to scrape. And then you're going to have 2 email templates. One is for the first time you do the outreach, and the second one is for the follow-up. Now, just to give you a quick one, here it's a thing that you could say like, hi, and then first name is inserted by AI. I was looking into, and then their company, and noticed, and one specific observation that maybe you can derive from the website. That often creates churn around problem area. Not sure if you experienced the same. Over the last 5 months, I've built your automation for niche to outcome that improve results. I'd be happy to apply it directly to your business. If it doesn't improve, result metric, you don't pay. Let me know if you can hop on a call and etc. To give you an example, I started the first email campaign that I did was in, I think, much more than 5 months ago, and it was on Feb or March 2025, and I started on agencies, like digital agencies. So it's a lot, right? It's a big hat. You have creative agencies, you have people doing SEO, you have people doing logos, brands, so on and so forth. The main problem of these companies, no, Sherlock, it's lead gen. So my thing was, hey, I was looking into your company name and noticed that you have, I don't know, you mentioned on a post that you struggled with conversion rate. I have an automatic system that allows you to book 20 meetings in 1 month. I'm happy to apply it. And if these leads are qualified, then you pay. If it doesn't deliver the results, you don't pay. Mind you, again, at this point, I am happy to do things for free, meaning that they pay only the systems, and there is always string attached, even if you say this, right? But you're not taking any commission, right? On the things. You're working for free. But at this point, it's just more useful for you to do that because you don't have an understanding of how effective is your solution, and you're not good at that, right? So again, we're still getting the repetition. By the way, by this time, probably, specifically on email outreach, like just to give you a thing, you will reach out and you will probably have 10 clients that, let's imagine you sell to 10 clients. If you get a refund, it's probably going to be a 10%. So 9 are going to be okay with whatever, even if you did a bad job, they're not going to ask for a refund. And 1 person will most likely ask for it. Let's imagine that you managed to take a bit of, or to sell these solution for a bit. You are losing 10% to get 9 clients. Like it's totally reasonable. And by the way, I would highly recommend you to have some sort of guarantee, specifically in the beginning, if you don't have results, because it just allows people to be more at ease with working with you. And because the fear of the unknown, it's immediately, removed, and the barrier is immediately demolished, which is something that you want to achieve in the beginning, right? Cool. And now the second email that you could do, by the way, rule of thumb for the second email is add more value, right? So we just don't follow up just to get your thoughts around it, but we just add more value. So hi, following up once more. I don't know if you want to say that, you can even remove it. There is a light way to address and maybe another problem area without touching your current setup. Thought it might be worth flagging. No rush, either way, Giovanni. And maybe here you can expand it more. Here is literally a draft, like for you to have an idea of how you could write them. Good. So now we are at day 21. And we are going to crush it now, because on top of all of our experience and our 70 to 140 Upwork application, which is, by the way, more than what company do in a year, like that's the how low the bar is. So if you do so much outreach, you're just going to be ahead of 90% of the people out there. Here we're going to start the email campaign and we're going to monitor the performance, and you need to be aware that at this point, you are starting to have a leverage, because you're going to send 30 emails a day times the domains that you have. So for this very reason, I wouldn't be cheap on the $3 more or whatever of 3-4 additional domains, because here, the difference is that from 7 to 12, we are talking of a difference of 5, that if you multiply by the 30 domains that you have over there, this means that per day, in the second scenario, spending €3 more, you can send 150 emails more. And even imagining a very low reply rate of like a couple, that's still very much worth it, because you're going to close it anyway, right? But okay, So we're going to start the email campaign. This goes now automatic. You're just going to receive things in your inbox. As mentioned, we're using Instantly here, both for warm up the domains, for starting the email campaign, and so on. And then we're going to continue with the application. So again, 5-10 per day. And we're going to continue adding new project to the Upwork profile, keeping in mind that we want to build what people are paying for, because this just gives us more results. So what are going to be our results at the end of the 30 days? At the end of the 30 days, you will have reached 20 to 30 people from your warm network. You're going to have reached around 120 to 200 people through Upwork. And with cold email, sending 7 to 12, having 7 to 12 inboxes and sending 30 emails a day per inbox. And then in 10 days with the 2-step sequence, you're gonna have reached out to 1,050 to 1,800 leads. So what does it mean? It means that overall you are contacting 1.2 to 2.7K people. That's quite a lot. And that's also not true because it's 2,070. Cool. People contacted. So that's pretty a high volume, right? And what is the expected conversion that you can have? So here I was extremely conservative. Meaning, warm network. I said you talk with 20 to 30 people. That's the extent of the warm network that I hypothesized. So 20, 30 people, friends, family, whatever. We expect 0 to 1 real intro. And I said, okay, this is a nice bonus, but not a lever. However, just be mindful that here I got my first client. So just as an FYI. Then Upwork application, you have 122 to 40. And we said that, okay, the average conversion, it's 5 actually, 4 to 5. I said, let's go to 3. So that out of these, you just get 3 to 7 calls overall with the conversion, right? And then I said, okay, cold emails, you can start from 1,050 to 1,800 leads. And then you convert 2 to 3% of this. And so you convert 20 to 50 calls. So what does it mean? It means that it's very realistic that even if you suck at sales, if you do between 58 to 23 calls, at least one, you will be able to land it. And by the way, try apply it. If it doesn't work, come back to the video and say, you scammed me. However, this is just to say, and this is again what my whole point was. Landing a client is easy. Like, you don't need to focus on content. You don't need to focus on creating carousels on LinkedIn or doing YouTube videos or whatever. Your only focus should be focusing on the things that are the lowest hanging fruit and that will give you outsized return, right? And this is email marketing and Upwork. And of course, Upwork is good for the beginning, is not scalable enough in the long term, but it's a great way to start and to put your toes and to dip them and to understand, okay, what are people selling, what is needed, and etc. And then email, it's just super scalable and you can just bootstrap your business there. Again, the first 50K that I did in my first 5 months of doing my agency, so Feb to whatever is 5 months after, were purely with email marketing campaigns and Upwork. So I would highly, highly recommend it. And this is again to say, it's easy, meaning it's simple, meaning that the steps are simple, like they are there, they are clear, and etc. It's not easy because the amount of work that it will require you to do quality outreach and to also have some touch points where you look back and you assess how good you did. It's for sure not easy at all, right? Now, with that being said, I really hope you got some value and you got a clear roadmap on what are the things that you should be doing in order to land your first AI clients within the next 30 days. If you want to connect with other people that are doing that, I'm also running a free school community, which is called AI Automation Founders, where I help others land their first client and get their first gig. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.